Sam, is that a button-up cardigan?
Yes.
I just bought one from Target that's very similar
This
to that whole style. Like an
this might be
oversized
from
cardigan.
Target.
Oh, it's from Target?
Yeah. It's from Target, but it's a crop. It's a cropped cardigan.
Mine is too. Mine's like I'm gonna tuck mine into like my high-waisted jeans.
This is like the weirdest piece of clothing because I'm simultaneously too hot and too cold. Because
Yeah.
like it's expo like my collarbone, I'm like freezing, but the material is like so thick that I'm like constantly sweating. So like I can only wear this when it's like the perfect temperature out because because if I try to wear it to like school or something, I'll like sweat through it on the commute. It's like disgusting.
Would you
So
say
yeah.
that that sweater is meant for April 25th?
Oh my God, I was gonna ask for that. So
Not
that's
too
a
hot, not too cold.
All you need is a light
I
jacket.
take it. Thanks.
You're
Yes.
welcome, world.
Oh
Everybody
my
was
God.
thinking it. We just said it.
Oh my God. That's what I couldn't think. I was like thinking, I was like, is it October? Is it the perfect day? It's April 25th.
Hello? Girl, what page are you on?
Welcome, everyone, to Girl, What Page You On? I am one of your three gorgeous hosts. I am Kayla, here to give you the history, hot stuff facts. And then we have always Samantha, Dawn, here for the Spice Shariah. And of course, where would we be without speed reader Ashley Parr? I mean, she killed the book before we got to. couldn't
I'm
wait.
just I'm just here to protect you all from your souls being crushed.
Well, I feel like there's something we need to let people know for these
It
11 through 20 chapters. Ash, what would that be?
is your usual spoiler alert. We are discussing, talking, and maybe giving away the biggest secrets of the story. And you've been warned.
Now I feel like it's time that we go into battle brief.
Here we are, battle brief with yours truly, here for the spice. So we are discussing chapters 11 through 20, starting out in chapter 11, Theophany, because we all figured out how to pronounce her name in the last week. Theophany is the venom with silver hair, and Violet finish up their conversation on the cliffside. We learn that Andarna is an irid scorpion tail, and we get further confirmation that Venom want Violet on their side of the war. More on that later. Violet returns to Basgiath to a very angry, very sexually frustrated Xaden Ryerson. We find out that King Tari will not open the borders to Paromish citizens, or they're essentially refugees at this point, right? So Xaden is becoming more and more sexually frustrated and more terrified of losing Violet. We get confirmation that Garrick is a distance wielder. And later we find out that Grady is still trying to come up with a squad for the hunt for Andarna's kind. He and his dragon questioned our girl Andy, but that left him with missing skills, both from Taryn and Andarna, quote, enough to make armor with. Violet and Imogen visit Jack and offer him alloy to feed on in exchange for answers and casually threaten him with orange peels. We get some juicy Venom info, and then Imogen wipes Jack's memory of their visit, just like an Etch-a-Sketch. The gang heads to the archives to meet Jacinia. Sawyer is all heart eye emoji when they delve into their research on the irid or iridescent breed of dragon. We find out Markham kicked Jacinia out of the Adept program and is now under orders from Grady to help Vi with her research on Andarna. We also find out the tomes that they need are the ones that her father, Papa Sorengel, never published and are conveniently in Atos's new living quarters. In Battle Brief, we get some new texts on Venin. We also confirm that Maven and Sage Venin can wield signets like lightning. And they announce that we're no longer able to kill or allowed to kill each other on the mats. Finally, we get some sense in this college. We learn that the cadets will be working on Signet wielding in and signet to signet combat. And we welcome our newest professor, Xaden Ryerson. Violet asks Dane to help steal her dad's research to which he obviously agrees. He is so smitten with her. Colonel Ados is the world's biggest cockblock and threatens our duo if they break codex, meaning Violet and Xaden can no longer do kissy kissy smoochy smoochy in the hallways. Violet has a meeting with the 7th Breed planning team, or our quest squad, that could have been an email, although we do get some telepathy flirting and some shadow foreplay. We get to signet sparring. Finally, all we wanted was Xaden with his shirt off. We get a training montage. I mean, a total ass-kicking montage where Xaden takes every single person down one at a time just because he can. Finally, in chapter 16, Violet and Xaden get to spar. He covers them in shadow and obviously sneaks a quick kiss behind the veil. And then after sparring, the gang hits Hogsmeade, I mean Shantara, for drinks. And Dane tells Violet that he has to be the only one in his dad's quarters to get the files that he needs. So she has to decide to trust Dane to get those files. Violet finally gets her hands on her dad's research, but it's conveniently in a self-destructive lockbox that she has to solve first. Once she opens the box, she finds an alarming note from her late father. We go back to signet sparring, and Halden, King Tari's son, shows up with a letter for Violet asking her to retrieve a jewel for King Cortland of Deverelli, and he also asks her out. Apparently, these two have dated in the past. Xaden gets jealous and Shadow yeets his ass into a wall. We get a love triangle. Yay. Nothing really important and crazy happens in 18. We get to chapter 19. Xaden and Violet, along with Grady's team, go to Anka, A-N-C-A, a completely deserted island city, to find the citrine for King Cortland of Deverelli. During this mission, Aura Beanhaven, dislike her, wields fire, not only burning Grady alive and causing the town to go up in flames, but it triggers a wyvern attack that ends up killing her after they were told not to wield. However, Mira got the citrine and she found an ominous note from Theof. In our last chapter 20, Violet meets with a Cenarium who want to search Eritrea and to give her a new squad on their next mission. She demands that she choose a squad of her own, and she completely wipes the floor with Markham. She obviously gets what she wants, and then Mira knees a dude in the balls. That's our chapters. That's our battle brief.
So I love how you did I love the Esther sketch. That was like when you were reading and you texted me that, I was like, oh my God, that's what we should refer to her power as, is the Etch sketch.
She does. I just imagine, because I would just imagine her just like shaking them. And I was like, hey, I forgot.
Pull yourself together. Oh, wait a minute. I erased that part.
I also love how you're like, go to Hogsmeade. Oops, I mean, like that was that like, as somebody who is reading, my husband and I are reading, gosh, I can't remember what one we're on.
Goblet?
No, we're on with Umbridge.
Goblet. Oh no, Deathly Hallows.
No,
Right?
Half-Blood Prince. No,
Half-Blood Prince.
no, Half-Blood Prince was before. I can't even think, but I'm on that one, and like them going to the three broomsticks and stuff like that. Okay. So first thing that I want to discuss is FNAF. I can't say, I'm still calling her Theo. I've listened to it multiple times. I literally have re-listened to the chapters. I'm still calling her Theo. But she discussed about how she hid herself as a scribe
Earlier in the book.
Yeah, like how she was how she had infiltrated it. She was literally just going around as a scribe, which is one of, I feel like, Violet's fears in the first 10 chapters, but she's like, how long have they been there? How, like, are they still there? And she was hiding right there the whole time. So,
I mean, a quote that I actually wrote down because I found it was like super interesting and that felt like it was going to be very important was could be surrounded by venom and wouldn't even know it. So my question is, who else is venom and like what, how long have they been there?
Yeah. Especially knowing that Jack had been venom like pretty early on in that first or in that second book. Well, really in that first book, because that's where he like whatever. In that second book and like how long was he hiding in plain sight? Like it takes him a while to show those venom characteristics, I feel like.
Well, it also made me think of like, okay, who else? Like, could there be higher people in the government that are
Yeah,
venom?
totally. Totally.
Like, are
My
they?
money's on Markham and Ados probably.
Oh, I was gonna say, don't forget Ados there.
What did we think about her, like Theophany or Theo and Violet's conversation on the cliffside there?
She says something about mortal memory. I'm sorry, everyone. I have my notes over this side. Mortal memory, and it makes you wonder how long she's been around for her to make that comment. I also have a note here that says Theo talks about how she wants Violet to come to her and not to Beowyn. Because if she goes to Beowyn, she will essentially lose control over her own powers, implying that he will control it. Like she won't have, like she'll kind of be like a dog on a chain or a dog on a leash.
Hmm.
Um, but he'll have control over all her power. And to be very honest, because they were back to back things, it gave me vampire vibes. Like the immortal stuff, and then like the whole like if your master like or was it Interview with Vampire like
Yeah,
the
Sire.
yeah, and like having
exactly.
control. um so it's, I don't know, the whole thing kind of again gave me vampire vibes. But who the hell is Beowyn first? Obviously, we now know
Right?
he's a general. He's good. He's somewhere in super high or something like that, right? He's got to
He's gotta
be.
be. We don't know yet, but he has to be. I'm assuming he's pretty high because like or he's like able to teach other Venin. The quote is, and when you come with him, meaning Xaden, you will remember that I let you live today and choose me, not Berwin, as your teacher. So like she's like all cocky, like you and Xaden are both gonna end up over here. I let you live. And then Theophany lets Violet live later toward the end in chapter 20, right? Ni or 19 and 20 where they're in Anka and she gets a note there essentially from her saying, "I knew you were coming." Like, I
Yeah.
knew you were coming. I chose not to come and kick your butt. So a lot of like foretelling there. As of now, do we think that Violet's going to end up as Venom? Like, where are your thoughts on that? Because I'm like so confused as to where this could potentially go. Ash, I feel like you're not allowed to answer.
I was gonna
I
say
feel like you're not allowed to answer
I was
because
I'm
you
waiting
just over here
finished.
drinking my coffee.
I was waiting for her to respond first, but then it started realizing, wait, she's not talking because she doesn't want to give anything away. Um,
I appreciate that.
I I'm kind of with you, Sam. I don't know which way to go because it's like I see the draw on it, and Theo's so confident that they're gonna come. And is this going to be like a misdirect like it was with the flyers? I don't think it is.
Hmm.
I mean, they're sucking the life out of everything. Party poopers.
But I think that maybe there's like levels to Venom, like there are levels to anything, right? So I could potentially see, there being a couple of different factions of belief in the within the Venom, like as you get higher and higher up, because she seems to have beef with this Barrowing character, where it's like, no, 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 I will let you have free will. They will not. You come to me. I'm still going to be your boss, essentially. But it also seems like if she, like, whoever kind of catches Violet and Xaden is gonna get a ton of power because of that. So, like, I could see them having like different ideals of like what they should and shouldn't take over, like potentially. But the Venom are like bad. They're definitely bad, bad.
Yeah.
I don't
Um,
know.
right after their discussion, definitely is one of my favorite quotes, which I think you probably love too, which is I'm still trying to say it without laughing. But Taryn wakes up and he goes, "Do not dehydrate on my account." And I was dying. And I was like, he means don't cry. Like, just instead of saying, don't shed tears for me, don't dehydrate on my account. Just got me. Just got me so good. Um,
Brilliant. He is absolutely brilliant. Um, and then we like get back and Xaden kind of like loses control. Um, like he's constantly, it was in 1 through 10 where we get the thumbprint on the headboard, right?
yeah.
Where he accidentally drained the power. But like we're getting more and more scenes of him losing control. It's like very obvious that it's hard for him to hold on to his power. She notes in the book, I don't know if y'all caught this, but she notes like Xaden loses his temper and his shadows flee from him. Did y'all
Oh,
notice that in chapter 12?
I read that, but then
It didn't like click. No, like
it
it's,
didn't
I
click.
specifically was like, Violet kind of noticed. She was like, he got angry and like, and Xaden always, like the first 2 books, he was always in control of his emotions, like very, very obviously in control. And she notes, and she was like, his shadows kind of got like, ooh, they like kind of moved away from him and jolted away from him. Whether they're like it's his show of his power, just like rippling out of control a little bit, or he's not like keeping them connected. But he also is constantly noting how he feels like he needs Violet to keep him whole. Like he's constantly needing her, and like terrified of what could happen to her. And like he does it in a romantic way, but I'm not gonna lie, it's feeling a little tampon-y. You know what I mean? If you know, you know.
Yeah. I actually have a quote here or a note that says the whole time listening to how Xaden has to hold himself back like from going over the edge reminds me of Edward from Twilight. Cause it's like I like again, very sexually frustrated 24-year-old man. And his not girlfriend, they're more than that. Um, and then but the like him saying, I want you, but I can't. And I like it just again, and I was sitting there
It's
and
not,
I
I
just started
want you.
laughing.
No, I need
And
you. No.
yes, and Dan's like Edward vibes, huh? I'm like, yes.
It's so
So
true.
yeah.
But we do get this like this really, I don't know, we can judge it. Let's judge it. The quote is from chapter 12. I would have killed anything and anyone in that moment to reach you, no exceptions. I would have channeled every ounce of power beneath my feet without hesitation if it would have landed me at your side. So it's like, I need you, but I don't trust myself around you. Yeah, it's very much Edward vibes. Like, I might just bite
Am
you. I
I
might turn you.
am I terrible of like I thought that was very endearing, but I'm also a girl that loves a villain that will burn the world down for the person he
Yeah.
loves.
I
And I read
definitely
that like that and I was like, that's kind of swoon worthy. Like bad boy all the way.
I definitely think it's endearing. I think it's beautiful the first half of it. But then it's like I would channel every ounce of power beneath my feet. So it's like, okay, if he
He's gonna
knows
suck
she's
the
in
world.
any danger, what, Kayla?
He's gonna suck the world. He's gonna take all the power.
It's a
He's gonna
lot of
suck it all up.
innuendos happening throughout our
Might as well
reading.
give him a Stanley and a straw.
A straw. For those of you watching the video, that is how Kayla signals to make sure you get her a straw from Starbucks. Yeah, I do. I agree, Ash. I think it's endearing. I think it's like it shows a level of love because like what wouldn't you do for your partner? What wouldn't you do for the people that you love? But also I think there is a fine line between destroying the world and, you know, protecting the ones you love. I think, and I don't know where I land on that either. Like I don't know where I would land. Um, and I think
I
it gives us a really, really good morally gray character.
I have to so I also have a note because I have all my notes now. In one spot because I text myself them. But I have a note here about how again Atos just being the ripe asshole he is and him just going and going and going and then Violet being like he didn't kill Varish. I did. And then like just walk away and then you just kind of like and this is how I imagine it in my head is like her saying that to him walking away with Dane at her side and Dane just kind of being like but technically I killed Farish and her just being like well he doesn't need to know that.
Yeah.
Even though she could have probably used it as like some kind of leverage but I don't think it really would have mattered at all because at this point General Atos is kind of just like tossed, I don't want to say tossed Dane aside, but he has put him on the outskirts of, I don't even know what to call it. I don't want to say
Yeah,
emotional
he
because they're
Mhm.
they're still father and son, but they're not like obviously Dane is chosen a side and Atos is chosen a side. So
Okay. Let
Yeah.
me, since we're on the topic of Dane and Atos, what were your guys' thoughts of Brennan defending Dane by saying he was raised by their dad too?
oh I thought that was really cute. And I was like, that that's pretty dope kind of thing to say. And I think it shows that Brennan has like treats Dane just like a brother, which also fully explains why they like it's a good thing that Violet and Dane never dated. Because they're essentially siblings. Hearing that, like we knew they were close before, but then when Brennan says, "Well, he had our parents too. He had our dad." Because I'm sure that Papa Sorengale was Asher. I finally remembered his
We have a
name.
name.
Yes.
What like I can just imagine him since he was a scribe, just being the one that kind of tucked all the kids in and like did the fort in the rooms and stuff like that.
Well,
Um,
and part of it too, I was looking at it, and I think Dane's love, like Violet in the other books mentions that Dane has a passion for languages. And I feel like he got that passion from Asher. And like I read that line and I was like, okay, so maybe their dad had a bigger impact on Dane than what we realized. And I just
mhm.
thought that Brennan defending Dane and saying that was very big brother, but also like you kind of realize that the best aspects of Dane came from Sorengale, came from Asher.
Very true.
I like missed somehow I missed that part, that little like interaction. But it makes perfect sense because you can see them growing up and you can see, like you were saying, like Mama Sorengale and Colonel Atos doing their own war stuff. And then the kids are just like at home running around, like, well, what do we do? You know, we're gonna go climb trees and have adventures. And Asher teaches, and we find this out later where Violet wants to bring Dane with her specifically because he speaks Krovlovish.
Crovelish,
Krovlish. Thank you.
Crovelish.
But he taught Dane language, so it is very true. Like you said, like he gets that love the same way Violet did, which is a really beautiful connection.
Which that first when they go to receive the item, and effing Aura, I think it's her name's Aura,
Yeah.
um, killing Captain Grady. And I literally have several swear words in this note. I was very angry. But she should have just freaking listened to Violet about keeping her effing hands down and putting them in her pockets, whatever, and not using her power. Because as soon as she did that, she set the trap. And with everything burning around, it reminded me of Violet's um dream.
Dream,
Now,
right?
my now, mind you, she wanted. Remember how she had everybody picked out Cat and everybody picked out for that mission, but then they redid her roster, and like
Yes.
all I was thinking was maybe that was when Cat was supposed to be there. Like maybe that was her dream. Do you think that that's true, or like I'm just looking too much into that?
Well, I think that you're onto something because we know that, let's just say what it is. Like, we know Violet has dreams of Venom, and we know that Venom often appear in her dreams. And we now know, wow, Kayla, you're making me put this together real time. We know Theophany knew Violet was going to be there. Right? So
Mm-hmm.
maybe it was like, hey girl, watch out. There's gonna be some fire. Oh my God, wait a minute. But yes, the fire scene reminded me of Violet's dream for sure. But that's a really good point. And I think they also make another comment later, when they get back from that mission and it all goes to shit because of Aura. And Riddick is kind of like, no, you're not allowed to do anything without at least one of us. Like, we need to be together. Like, there's a reason, like, we need to be together. And
I'm
it
so proud
kind
of
of
him
goes
for
together with
that.
that. I know, I love Riddick so much. Um, I love him so much. Do
So
you
I'm
I
trying to
guys,
remember my favorite Riddick quote, if it has been said or not yet.
well, don't spoil it.
I have
I,
a bunch of Riddick quotes at the end to just like rattle off because they're so good.
so I have this is specifically for you, Sam. Did you love the part where Taryn makes the comment that Violet's been a great deal closer to Zayden when she's unleashed her lightning?
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. She's like, get out of my head. She's like, how did he know that? Oh my God. This is so embarrassing.
And I just when I read that and I was like, that's for Sam. That one's for Sam for sure. Um, because like obviously so Zayden's holding her on, and Taryn's taken off with them, like just kind of swooped in, grabbed them, and gone. And Sigale's flying around trying to keep the wyvern away, and she wants to use her lightning, but Zayden's holding on to her with his shadows, and they're just clinging to each other. And that's when Taryn makes that comment, like, "You've been a great deal closer using your lightning, and you didn't have control then. Like, just use it." And so she ends up being like using her lightning and taking out the wyvern. Um,
And they get
so
back to safety.
yeah, and
I do want, yeah, sorry. You were gonna finish. I'll let you
well, I
finish.
have a another thing, which is Riddick. And it says, I have never related to a character more than Riddick in chapter 20 when he's explaining that just because he has a sense of humor doesn't mean that he's not strong and able to fight like everybody else. And I was like, I feel you. You are my spirit character.
I do love Riddick so, so much. Um, I do want to circle back because you brought up Grady and you brought up like their little like species hunting crew. So Grady wants to go north to find more feather tails. He's saying it's feather tails, but really it's the irid is, but he doesn't. I don't think she's shared that information with him. Smart enough. Smart of her. Um, and Violet's like, no, the Isles in the south are the answer. Like she just has a hunch that we have to go south. We have to go south. And that leads to Dane breaking into his dad's home quarters. It used to be Violet's and the Sorrengail's home quarters and getting the book. I do want to talk about the note that Papa Sorrengail left for Violet. But I need to scroll in my notes to find it.
The note was very sweet. And also, is kind of still reinforcing that Papa Sorrengail knew stuff was going to go down and he wasn't going to be around, but it also is kind of solidifying more and more that there's something Venom about Violet, and he knows it, but he also knows that she's probably going to be the savior and whatever it is, because again, I think it has to do with just how she acts, because again, she doesn't pull from power, the ground and the stuff around them. I need to figure out what that,
Yeah.
like how to relay that than just saying sucking out of a Stanley. Oh, because I like they just pull all the power out of everything. So, Ash, what do
Um,
you think?
Actually, I was going to ask you guys what your thoughts were on this quote, and I think it's by Roderick. Melgrave hasn't yanked you out of Battle Brief and personally seen to you arrangements in hope that your kid will be the next one with Battle Foresight in 21 years. Like I feel like there was a lot of dropping hints, and
Mm.
maybe it's just like I'm like swooning, like we had Akatar and then we had Baby, Nick's come in and stuff. But I'm like, part of me is like really, really hoping that I love to see like family building. But that comment, I was like, I didn't really think about Zayden and Violet
There's two
having
comments
like
about
there's
that.
two, and that's why I was like, that's so interesting that there's multiple remarks. But I like, I saw an interview where somebody had asked about it, from like the other books, and she was Rebecca said that she didn't think that Violet and Xaden wouldn't be open to that because of the situation they're in. But I was like, I did not think about what their kid would be stupid but strong. So what are your thoughts on? And I thought it was interesting that it was Roderick that was making that comment.
Who?
But he said, or was it Roderick or was it somebody else in the class? But it was like someone randomly
Riddick?
brought this up. No.
No, Roderick. He's one of the professors during Battle Brief. Or no, he's
Oh.
not. He's at the table like with the Duke, or like with
Yes, it was. I
Xaden,
want to say
and he's one of the guys that's like with the high. I keep calling them the high court, but they're not. But like
the
there's that
scenario.
one
No,
lady there who's
Scenario.
like, well, you should accept
maybe
my
it was
daughter's
Dane.
hand.
I
Right. They're
can't
trying to like
remember.
secure like
An
power in
heir.
the future and
Yeah,
air.
I'm
Yeah.
like surprised,
But
especially
it,
with Zayden taking his place in the scenario. Um, I just thought that comment was really interesting.
yeah. It's
Um,
interesting to see like what the next I'm sure this is gonna be books down the road. Thanks,
yeah.
Rebecca.
But I'm like,
Um,
she's taught us that we need to like pay attention to remarks like that. So I'm like, okay, but that would bring two really, really powerful houses together. And we do see the political game happening.
mhm.
Speaking of scenario, what are your thoughts about Zayden being I don't know if he was the first, but it's definitely mentioned that he is sitting in the scenario wearing black.
He's the only
He's
Duke
a
to ever wear
writer.
black.
He's a writer.
Yeah. Did they
Um,
not let Tyrandor have people come in as riders? Is that like what
I'm
they like?
guessing
Did they
that
kind of suppress them a little bit?
I
I'm
don't think
guessing it's more that they don't let the aristocracy become writers because of the mortality rate. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
the
guess,
dangers of
I was
it.
which is
thinking more of the
why,
power struggle.
which also
Like,
shows why Auric, is that what his codename
all
still is?
right.
Eric.
Auric,
Yeah.
why he sneaks in. Um, Also, we haven't gotten to the big discussion about we meet Violet's ex, and the tables have turned in this one. I
Yeah.
love the dynamic of the whole like X is cut, like it's now tables are turned for Zayden, and he like I don't know. I just loved every part of their scenes together.
It's so funny.
They
He
are.
basically like rolls in during Zayden's class because Zayden's like teaching them how to like fight signet to signet. And Halden is his name. He rolls in and Violet's like, oh fuck. And Halden comes in and is like, oh, okay. And you can just see Xaden out of the corner of her eye getting more and more and more angry. And then all of a sudden he just like shadow punches him into like hits him against the stone. And Halden's like, what the hell? Um,
I
he's like,
love
I didn't
that.
know who you dated before. She's like, chill out, dude.
And
Yeah,
he's
I was like, when it popped up, I was like, oh snap. Like, we've had hints about like her having like a relationship with
with
somebody,
an
not a
infantry
crown
guy.
prince.
She's had relationships with an infantry guy, which isn't he in the infantry?
He is, yeah, but he's
So
also a prince.
A
I
crown
just want to point
prince.
though that the whole second book, when she's talking about, well, yeah, like I had a previous guy, and Zayden's like, oh, and I bet you it was in infantry, and she'd just be like, that's just a good guess, but like how like but I love the whole thing. But I do think it was funny that she was still like his green eyes are pretty much still swoon worthy.
Oh,
But
totally.
then she also immediately comments to him, um, oh well, you didn't seem to mind hair in your face when your teacher was riding you.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
like
apparently
he
his
cheated on her
Yeah.
with
his
a
thi-
teacher.
Yeah.
yeah. And he has a thing for redheads.
Him and Cat, right? Is Cat a redhead? Why do I think Cat's a redhead?
No, Kat has dark hair, dark eyes, but I definitely could see. So at first I thought it would be Arik and that Kat would go after Arik, but now it's just like, yeah, she's going for Haldren. Like maybe, but I
So many
also
love triangles.
there's so many, and I it's so funny looking at stuff because I hate drama, but I love to love the drama in these books with the little relation, except for when it comes to like I always have a hard time with this with a girl having to prove herself to another girl because she has the guy. I those
Hmm
just because it
It's
makes
like
like
pointless. It's like such pointless drama.
yeah. This is just funny because like he waltzes in and it's been 3 years since they were together. And he's just like, well, how about you and I? And Zayn's like, nope, just nope.
I like how Violet just kind of looks over at like corner of her eye at Arik or Cam, and she's like, "Okay, got to move him somewhere." So
Hide
she
Yeah,
him.
just
and they're
goes
like
down and
they're
she's
like
like,
on
"Let me
it.
distract you."
That's hilarious. But Halden ends up helping her quite a bit because he is involved. He's like speaking for his father and when his father is absent in this scenario. So Halden actually ends up pulling some weight and helping her like put the pieces together. So she gets kind of ends up like 2 for 1 where they go to Anka. So she gets one from Halden saying, "Hey, you need to get they like go get this citrine so that these other kings will agree to meet and talk about terms for peace. I'm assuming it's terms for peace, or terms to like allow them to go research more on the islands, right? And then the note from her dad also says the same thing. He's like, you need to go south. Like, south is the answer. That's where my research is leading me. He's also like, and trust nobody. He's like, only trust Mira. But Holden ends up pulling weight for her toward the end of the book and helps her get the crew that she wants to take with her in the next part. Which would be um for the Deverelli mission when they go and bring the citrine to the king or to their leader. I don't know if he's exactly a king. Lieutenant
Mhm.
Ryerson, Lieutenant Sorengale, so Mira, Zayden, Riddick, and Kat. Um,
Cat's
she
cousin
also
Drake.
Kat's cousin Drake, Dane, Prince Halden, and then Halden's guard, who is also his lover, because we get that in that little like battle in that little like sequence as well. And then literally love Mira's thoughts on this so much. Do you guys remember this part?
I don't know. I feel like
She
I
goes,
do.
she goes, you get one chance to form your own squad, and you choose your ex, your current lover, the quadrant's resident smartass, two people who have tried to kill you in the past year, one oversaid current lover, and whatever Dane is. These are your choices for the most important mission any rider could possibly undertake.
Yeah, let me pull. Well, I mean, they are the closest people to her because you keep your enemies, or what is it? You keep your friends close and your enemies closer. She definitely did that with some of this. And it's so funny. Like, again, just even though it's so like such an important mission, Halden just like brings the humor and I
Hmm.
absolutely love it because I like kind of seeing Zayden just like having a hissy fit, like, and it's kind of nice to see him jealous considering all the emotional crap that Kat put her through in the last book. I feel like this is just a little bit of payback, like it's
Hmm.
do justice.
Yes. And Halden's like, can I take you out to dinner?
Yeah, he's like, we should go out. She's
He
like, how
kind
I'm
of
good.
he kind of reminds me of like, in Hunger Games, I think it's the second or is it a third one?
Yes.
Where they're back
The quarter
in the Hunger
quell.
Games and it's all the people from the olds, right? And who's the guy from like the Fisher, right? And he's really, really tall.
Oh,
He kind of gives me Halden vibes because it's just like I'm
yes.
super hot. I'm coming in here. I'm messing everyone's shit up. I love
Finnick.
it.
She's
Finnick,
Finnick.
yes.
Yes, Finnick.
Finnick O'Dare.
Yes,
Yeah, he
exactly.
definitely gives Finnick vibes. Like where he can be like he can give a little bit of like insight, but he gives a little bit of humor too. So this way it comes out like, huh. But again, like he said that he was going to help her get the team she wanted, and he's on her side essentially. But I also, something in my gut just tells me not to trust him all the way. Um, but I do love that Taryn is in her head and he's saying like it won't matter if he's royalty or not. The only thing that'll matter is in Darna when we get to when we get to the Southern Isles. The only thing that'll matter will be in Darna. Doesn't matter if he's royalty or not. Which I was like, yeah, good point. So, but at the same time, I feel like it's a whole World War I situation where what happens if he gets killed on this mission? Like, are like that's also another thing that just like makes me worry in the background. What will happen because he's next to the throne, which we also got to bring up that his twin brother was killed.
In the
Um,
revolution, right?
yeah. So
By a Ryerson.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of beef there. There's going to be who do you think Violet can trust as of now? Mira.
I think that she can trust Zayden, but I think Zayden is afraid for her to trust him because he doesn't trust himself. Um, which I mean,
You guys, I'm
that
not gonna lie, I'm out on Zayden right now.
I just could
I'm out.
I'm kind of with you. I could care less right now if Zayden controls it or not. Just let it go. I want to know, like, I want the storyline to progress a little bit more. I'm kind of tired of hearing about Zayden, which I know that this whole thing is Onyx Storm, and they keep referring, which I called it, his Onyx eyes, his Onyx eyes, his Onyx eyes, every 2 pages.
Am I the only one who feels like Zayden is like that broody emo kid that just can't get over himself?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, get over it. We got bigger fish to fry, and I don't give a crap about you losing control at this very second when clearly you can control it. Like, I was just so over like oh, I can't be with you. Oh, I love you. Like,
Edward Cullen.
bro.
It's just
Yeah,
like a
it's very
little
Edward
intense.
Cullen.
It's a little intense. She does have a really cute, because I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. Rebecca has a really cute nod to Game of Thrones. And I also had it in my wedding vows. Xaden says to Violet, I am yours and you are mine. And there's no law or rule in this world or in the next that will change that. The I am yours and you are mine is like
Yeah.
mirroring what they say in their vows in the North.
No.
Um, so I was like, oh, that's cute. But yeah, Zayden is like super possessive right now. And I'm not into that shit. I'm just not into it. It's possessive. I also think that because they're 24, the lack of sex is going to destroy their relationship.
I kind of feel like that too because they can't keep their hands off of each other. Like literally, that's well. Someone sent me a thing saying, "Oh, here's for your podcast," because somebody listened and we were talking about how there's not a lot of spice, but it lays out like within these chapters are spice. So apparently, once we get a little bit farther, I don't think it's in these. I know in the 30s, apparently, we're going to get a little bit more spice.
Wait,
Oh,
Ashley, can you confirm? Do we get more spice?
Yeah, so
Just say yes or no.
yes, there's more spice, but it's not like steamy,
it's
crazy
not
spice.
releasing the tension.
Eh, I mean, so I know what you're talking about, where it was like, I did find it interesting because I had seen it pop up too, where it was, I believe, 6 or 7 chapters in Onyx Storm are labeled spice, but in the previous books, only like 3 or 4 chapters were labeled spice. So it depends on your level of spice, what you
Yeah.
want, what you are hoping is going to develop.
We
I
just want the
guess.
tension to be released so we can get on with the story.
I mean, it
It's
definitely gets
right.
good.
It's like not even about the spice at this point. It's just like, can we freaking move past this?
Can we
Like,
develop our relationship further than where it's gotten
totally,
stuck?
totally. Like last book, it was all like, I can't tell you anything. I know you want to know things. We have to ask the right questions. And it's just like, questions to ask.
The little emo
Ah.
hair flip got me, Sam.
I'm just like, can we? And now he's like, oh, I love you so much. I just gotta touch you, but I can't touch you because I'm gonna turn you into a banana. That's my take. That's how this book is going for me.
As I
Also,
was reading,
Nick
oh, go
got to
ahead.
like page 200 in Fourth Wing, and he like literally looks at me, he puts his book down, he's like, I am almost done with this book, and there has not been a single spicy chapter. And I was like, babe, I don't know what to tell you because I told you. Like I literally said, I'm not, it's not smut. Like it's a story. It truly is a story. There's just like there's some fun scenes in there. Um, but he was like, it was
Just gonna
so
lose
fucking
it in the
spicy.
next
Like
book.
I can't do this. Um, do you guys have predictions for what's gonna happen next? We were texting earlier and I definitely think that just like the other two books, I definitely think that the latter half of this is going to really pick up. And I do think that the next section will give us I really hope the next section gives us a lot more answers.
I think it will. I have a feeling now that on they're off on an adventure. I'm sorry, I'm a big Hobbit fan. Um, that maybe it's going to start picking up, but I do hope that because now we're getting into like almost a mid. Well, I guess this next 10 chapters aren't a midway, but we're getting closer to a midway point. And I feel like we still have just barely left the Shire, so to speak.
Totally.
Um, and I hope that it picks up some because I would like some answers. And I'm kind of tired of the Venom, like either Theo just tell us what the F is going, like give a stop giving riddles. Um, Either give us a good narration and stop yanking our chain. Um, or just move the story along right now. I'm kind of just like
And yank our chain, please.
what?
I hear you. I'm kind of with you.
I like
We're all feeling the frustration, much like Zayden is. Let's do a
That's
fun segment. Oh, sorry. Ash, go.
no, I was gonna agree. That's why I kind of powered through the book because I was like, I was where you guys are at. You guys are just handling it probably a little, well, I speed read, but I was super frustrated of like, okay, where is this going? Like,
Yeah,
holy smoke. It's the whiplash thing. It's like we end on such a big cliff note and then we go and stop.
totally.
So it's the whiplash for sure.
Okay, I just came up with this idea. We should Venom watch. Who so far in the story do we think could be Venom? Ash,
Oh.
you can only say names. You can't give any reasons just in case. I personally think that Grady might be just because he's like he get wait, either Grady is Venom and actually is planning something, or Grady is Gilderoy Lockhart and it's just like la chi da, I don't know what I'm doing, right? And just kind of like bopping around and has no clue because he was also in um the second book when they were doing the serum, Grady was involved in that whole thing as well. So I think he definitely uh is Venom or potentially could be Venom.
I agree with that. Because again, the serum, which we talked about last time, I think the time before or last time, we talked about how we think that the serum is tied to Jack turning venom because it was right around that time when they got it. Um, and I'm still like, if the serum nulls your powers, why can't we use it on the venom type of thing? But at this point, I'm kind of still like anybody could be a venom. Like other than like our little group, our little insiders group, our BFFs, like Riddick and Rihanna and stuff like that. Um, but I really have no clue because I don't trust anybody at this point at all. So it's really hard. And even Dane, like I know Dane, he's a bitch, but he's becoming our bitch. And and I just feel like he's still kind of just he's trying to make up. So he is, um but his dad definitely like I'd feed him to a wyvern and just be like, see ya. I would toss him out and then fly away.
I don't think Dane is Venom. Um, I think we can trust Dane. I think I'm back on like we can trust Dane. I don't think we can trust Zayden, genuinely. Not because like I just think, and maybe this is like me being a little skeptical, but I just think that he is so afraid of losing Violet and he's so afraid of losing control that he's going to. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know how when you're like, oh, is someone talking about me? I don't know what they're talking, like what's going on? Like then they're going to, you know? So I think that this is a self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't think we can't trust Xaden with Violet. I think that he like loves her and wants, I genuinely think that he loves and wants to protect her, but I just don't think we can really like trust his um control.
I think he needs to make up with Sigale and like I know Sigale's super mad at him for him reaching for the power, but he knows he did wrong. He and I think that maybe it comes back to like Asher's books. And the password is Lilith Sorrengail's dragon's name. That was her first love.
Mhm.
So it kind of goes hand in hand with like Sigale was his first love, and like uh
Well,
Violet says that their dragons will always be their first priority. And I think that Zayden's kind of lost that, and now Violet is his first priority. And I think he needs to circle back around and he needs to connect back with Sigale. And maybe Sigale can help him, like because his power runs from Sigale. And if his shadows are running, it means that Sigale is probably running. Like she's pulling her power back from him. So maybe it's something like that to kind of heal that bond so he stops leaning on the other one like a crutch, because
Well,
Sigil's not talking to him.
well, you got to remember it's their bond with their dragon goes down into their soul. And it's been mentioned that when you turn venom, you sell your a part of your soul. You sell your soul. So Sigale is devastated because she lost a part of her soul with Zayden. It's more of an emotional pain, I think, than like she's not she might be disappointed that because they both were dying. Like they were both in trouble. And he can't siphon power from her if she's trying to survive as well. So for him he was just trying to save them. And I think there's some definite like feelings of, you know, they're just broken. There's part of their bond is broken.
Yeah, that's why I think maybe mending it would help some, but I understand it's a lot harder to go back to the way stuff was. Like that, obviously you can't do that, but I do think that maybe Sigil could help. Because the only thing that's talking to Sigil is maybe in Darna probably annoying the shit out of her. But I think that Taryn's the only one, and Taryn's kind of just like in that spousal role of like, how are you today? Can I bring you some sheep? Do you want some water?
To eat
Okay,
some
we'll talk
sheeps.
soon.
Um, ah, so much frustration in
I
these 10
know.
chapters.
Uh,
Did you guys have like a favorite quote or friend moment? Or did we touch everything? Is there anything else we need to cover?
my favorite quote is don't dehydrate on my pot.
Okay, my favorite quote is a Riddick quote. Ash is gonna love it. Um, so okay, there's two. There's when they're all talking about like they're just having we get a lot of like really great friend moments. And we have Rand said Riddick bed hops like a fucking frog, but no, let's give me crap. We make it a few steps where none of us can smell their laughs. A frog? Riddick grins from Sawyer's left. That's the best you can do? A frog?
That was pretty good.
And then Riddick, they're talking about they're all sparring and they're like, Garrick's gonna blow you off the mat. And Riddick goes, now that I might enjoy, depending on the method he chooses.
I forgot. I caught that and I meant
Oh
to put a
my
note in it and totally forgot because then I got enveloped in the Taryn quote of you've been closer to the wing leader before.
God.
Um,
That's like
but
my
yeah,
favorite. It was
that whole
so fun. I
section.
was cackling in that whole, yeah, it was like chapters 12 and 13. They're like a lot of banter between them back and forth. The whole section is just like pure like gold friendship. And it's like, this is why I'm here. I love it.
Yeah, they definitely those are some of my favorite chapters as well. Especially when the whole I don't want to say trio because it's obviously a group, but when the whole gang is together, it definitely gives good times. And I'm definitely like they need to stay together. For sure need to stay together. Um, and I agree when they separate, bad things happen.
Hmm. Absolutely. I think Riddick like nails it in that last chapter there. He's like, or that last little, I think it's chapter 18 and 19. No, chapter 19, it has to be. And he's just like, we need to stay together because when we don't, bad things happen. And like, he really pushed. Oh, and we find out that Riddick his signet is water wielding or
Yeah, he
ice
can pull the
wielding.
water out of
And
stuff and freeze it.
he can freeze that water in things. And Violet's like in people. And he's like,
I haven't
yeah.
tried yet.
He's like, yeah, kind of. I can do that. And then just like a couple other signet stuff. Like we also know now that it's like pretty much confirmed that there are second signets coming.
Yeah. With and Garrick's like walking, like distance wielding.
Hmm.
That is some crazy stuff, which we had theories about it before. Um, but he for sure flat out says that and confirms that they do have second signets and that their dragons sought them out for power. And I was
Yep.
like,
I
mic
noted that.
drop. And
Yep.
I was
They
so,
knew what they were doing, right?
mhm. Yep.
It was good.
Ash, you got your quote?
So mine is the exchange between Mira and Drake, where
Yes.
you must be Mira Sorrengail. Drake manages to say, pain etched into every line of his face. Guess you've heard of me too. She crouches down to his level. If you ever endanger my sister's life again, my blade will replace my knee. Got it? To his credit, he lifts his head and sucks in a breath through his teeth. Heard. Excellent.
I I love that. And I'm sticking to my guns. I feel like that is the true enemies to lovers. I definitely, if they don't end up together, they definitely hook up at some point, right, guys?
For
I
sure.
hope so.
I'm
I
more
really hope
sure
so.
of them than I am of Violet and Zayden at this point.
Oh, I agree. It's just like such good chemistry and just the knee to the balls and just like down he goes. And I was like, yep, I love this scene. This is fantastic.
Um, but what's new with you guys? We haven't talked. I feel like we haven't talked in a minute.
I know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, this week was super, super busy. Usually we're like texting more frequently, but I was like, wow, I was like constantly opening my phone to expect to see some like book text from you guys and like nothing. I was like, oh, okay, what's going on?
It was
But
crazy busy. Like, I mean, I think you and I talked once on the phone, and usually we talk multiple times, whether you're driving to work or I'm driving to work or back and forth. And that didn't happen. Like, it just, the week was such a blur.
Yeah, like my brain is still like functioning that we are a week behind. I think like last week, one being sick really, really throws off like your time, but yeah, for sure.
Deverelli is
Yes,
an island, right?
I believe so.
Yes.
Is it?
Isn't that the
You
island where
know what? We have
cats?
a
I
map.
thought
We have
that's
a
full.
map.
I was gonna say
Oh,
we have
yeah,
a
let me.
map.
I,
Well, see, that's why I was like looking, and it's not shown on the map.
Deverelli is not shown.
Nope,
Yeah, she doesn't put the map in. I saw. Sorry, let me get on here.
you're good.
I saw a like one of her interviews. She's been doing a lot of Rebecca Yarros has been doing a lot of,
Yeah,
promotional interviews. And I saw that she said she didn't put the maps or she didn't put the islands on the map because it would be a huge spoiler. I'm like, Rebecca.
like woman,
also,
publish the
she
map.
she
Actually,
made a comment. Oh, sorry. She made a comment about you have to keep really good notes toward the end on finding who's there and who's not. Which I was like, well, I know nothing. We know nothing because we're not there. So we know this. So when we get to it, we'll be more detail oriented, I guess, when we get to that part.
I
Yeah.
still haven't done full on notes for the end of the book.
Good. You can go back and reread.
Um, but since we're talking about the maps, am I the only one who wants like editions of Mommy and Daddy Soaringale's journals and a copy of Brennan's journal?
Oh,
Like,
oh,
I
little
think
Yeah, like
side
she
as a
needs to publish.
books.
standalone, as like a
Yeah,
standalone.
like standalone, small little like fan thing that she can sell, whatever. I want one.
Like the Harry Potter Quidditch book and like Beetle the Bard and stuff like that. Like those little books. Like
I
do
have
like a
seen
little
like people are showing like these like I don't know if they're ads or whatever, but it shows like the scribe quadrant, the healer's quadrant, and they look like books, like actual books. I'm like, where the heck are these? Because I can't find them.
What might have made them though?
Yeah.
Oh.
I wonder if they just made their copies into those.
I don't know where Davarelli is. Do we know where it is? Do we know?
Isn't it past like cat? We know it's
Corden.
like
They go to Corden, right? No.
they go to where Kat's uncle is.
Right.
I thought Devarelli was a
Anka,
person.
Anka, ANCA. I found it. And then they must be like past the Barrens or down past Peromio. I don't
All
know.
I know is that chapter 20 ends with them getting to Kat's uncle.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. Because in 21 is when when Zayden like tricks.
No.
Yeah.
It's a who's Cat's uncle?
The Viscount.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Viscount.
Takaris.
Takara's, yeah. And
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
I was like, what?
chapter 21 is when Zayden tricks the prince.
No,
Her
I
ex.
haven't read 21.
It's literally just the beginning. I'm just giving you a little
No,
piece.
it's not.
It's not a
No, I didn't get a spoiler. I didn't hear a spoiler warning, Kayla.
it's not
Must be Mira
a
Sorrengill. Drake manages to say, pain etched in every line of his face. Guess you've heard of me
What
too. She
page are
comes
you
down
on?
to his level. 178. It's the last page in a quarter of 20.
Oh my God. Oh my God, Mira. Any final remarks? Anyone have any final wrap-up things they want to say?
What are your guys' predictions for the next 10 chapters?
they're gonna get
Just
to the island. They're gonna get to the island or one of the islands, and nothing's
Mhm.
gonna be there because that seems to
Oh,
be our luck right now.
I
And
think we're gonna get some Theo stuff at the island.
I kind of feel like Theo isn't. She's leading up not to be such a bad person, like bad guy. Like she's willing to trade sides. Like she's willing to give secrets. Because I feel like they could probably sway her because she doesn't like Baowen and we don't know who he is, but she don't like him, which I wonder if he taught her and she's bound to him some way too. And maybe they could break it. I don't know. But I can definitely see maybe there's some Theo coming.
Mhm.
Um maybe she's what they find at the island of nothing. The island of misfit toys.
I
Um
think they're gonna meet, like, I think they'll end up, I don't think they're gonna find nothing. I think they're gonna find something because like, that's where Violet's been led to by multiple, like, sources at this point. Um, I think they're gonna find something. I don't think it's gonna be what we expect, though.
yeah. Ash is just sitting here smiling and doing her eyebrows and her faces and stuff because she can't speak, huh?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just here to read books and drink coffee.
Okay, well, let's turn the tea light off. Tea has been officially spilled.
All right. So next week we are doing 21 through 30. We do know how to count now. um
22, 23,
yeah
24, 25,
25.
26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
Woo! um, so
It
we'll
means
be
you end at 31, really.
yes, you end at the you stop reading the end of chapter 30 and then we start on 31 the next time. Um but yeah, but I can't like it's going so slow, but at the same time, I feel like it's going very fast because when we wrote out how we were doing this, it felt like it was so far away.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Yeah. So
So
this episode is going to air Saturday?
on the 7th.
On the
Friday.
7th.
Friday.
This
Friday.
episode airs Friday the 7th, and then we'll be discussing chapters 21 to 30 on Valentine's Day. That's when that one will
Yes.
air. So we should think of some fun little love quotes maybe.
Which I was wondering. So there is Cards Against Fourth Wing. And I was wondering if maybe we should do a like a live Zoom call or something with anybody who wants to join us on Fourth Wing playing that game. If you guys are interested, drop a comment, give us a heart, not a like, we want a heart on Facebook if you guys are interested in doing that because we want to like I kind of want to play this game with everybody. Also shout out to the girl that I met at Target who's buying her Onyx Storm book. Um, I hope that you like our podcast because I'm pretty sure she followed us right after I started talking to her. Right after I found the wing leader hat, the only one in the store, the only merch related to the books. Funny enough, the only thing there. So, and Ashley's been trying to hunt it down, and I just accidentally find it in an aisle.
I just like the thrill of the hunt. I'm not actually like get buying that stuff, but it's just the fun things to like see and kind of geek out with like others in stores, right? I have a parent who's borrowing my Fourth Wing book to start the series so she can listen to the podcast. So super excited about that. I love that we're reaching out and we're finding our community and our tribe for
Our
sure.
people, you
Our
are our people. You want to know your names?
You are part of our quadrant.
Yes. Fourth Wing.
Fourth
Fourth
Wing.
Wing. All right. So until next time, everybody.
Girl, what page you on?